Something. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to announce that we are live right now from New York City, hometown of IEM New York. This is day one of the event. This is an awesome event. Yes, there's a couple players like Flash. You won't see till tomorrow. Today you got to settle with like Life, Dongray Gu, Demuslim, Suppy. So disappointing, but not really because those guys are actually super amazing as well.
This weekend we've been waiting a long time. I know the people in the chat have been waiting a long time as well. This is a culmination of events that have been building up over the past month, 2 months, 3 months. This is IEM New York City. This is probably one of the most important stops in the circuit. We got WCS qualification points on the line. There are players that must win. They must get second. They must get top 3.
In fact, why don't we talk about
Let's do it.
Different players who are actually, before we talk about the different players who really need to perform well, why don't we give you guys a glimpse of actually who's playing today. Of course, today is the open bracket, stage 1. And here's, it's divided up into 2 different brackets.
Yes.
So you can kind of see there's one of the brackets right there. So do you see 8 players right there? There's another bracket of 8 more. Each bracket has 8 players. It's double elimination. And you can see there the top 4 from each bracket will advance on to stage 2 to join the players who have already qualified in stage 2. You know, the Flashes, the Nanowas, the Zesses, the Curious, the SWSs, the Liquid Heroes, those guys. And there you can see it. So there's a lot of great players there. You've got Demuslim, you've got Hack, you've got Desro, you've got San. San's been looking beautiful lately. Snoot, a lot of great players there.
They're all live. They're
Yes.
all here in New York City. They are at the convention center right now. They're getting ready to play their games. These are very important matches because is it top? Yes, top 2 advance because there's 2 brackets.
Yes,
To kind of explain the
top
format
4 from
a
each
little
bracket.
bit. Right. So the top 4 from each bracket advance to the group stages. Are you sure that's right?
Actually, no,
I think
sorry.
it's top 2.
It's top 2. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
it's because there are 2 brackets. If we can get a shot of the second bracket, this is just one. Here's the second one. These are the 2 basic, like, quote-unquote open brackets because the way these players actually got into this tournament is by performing well in their respective qualifiers. These are those players that got 2nd place, they got 3rd place, they got 4th place in their qualifiers, and because they did so well but didn't quite get that all-expenses-paid trip, they simply got the invite into the open bracket, and of course, you had to actually accept. So we have some players that might have done well but didn't necessarily accept their invite. Nick was one of them. Nick was actually invited to play in the open bracket but realized it wasn't going to be logistically possible. So again, the main idea here for these open bracket players, some of them are super well known, some of them not so much. Get top 2 and you're into the group stages, which start tomorrow.
That's right, and there's still a lot of great players in this. I mean, obviously, you got Life, you've got Puck. Actually, I'm really excited to see Puck play, especially Puck versus Life. If they both win, that should be a super great match. Suppy is always someone to watch out for. Of course, Dongray Gu. I mean, that amazing series against innovation. It's actually super exciting because I was watching those Korean qualifiers.
Right.
And they literally had, like Parting lost on, like, the round of 64 in the Korean qualifier. So it's like you missed out on Parting. Jockshi lost in like the round of 16 or 32 or something. Innovation lost in the Korean qualifier.
Right.
He lost to Zest, and then he was in loser bracket final, and he lost to Curious there as well. So like, you got these amazing Korean players, but only a couple actually qualified directly in stage 2. We've got some players like Hack, Dongray Gu, and Life who are like, you know what, we're just going to go straight into the open. We're just going to go through that way. And it's super amazing because it's a tournament, so much more competitive.
They're able to do it. So if
Yes.
you're looking at these names, you're like, okay, they're not going to make it through. No, like Life, it's just a walk. Like it's just another day laddering,
Yes.
basically going through an open bracket.
Well,
maybe it may be even easier.
that's what you think that at first, but then if you look at it, remember you said only the top 2 from each of those
true.
brackets advance, right? And if you look at Life's bracket, I mean, there's maybe the first round he's a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
But after that first round, I mean, all of a sudden it's going to get tough, right?
Right.
Second round probably against Puck. And Puck is someone who's beaten top Korean players. So, but Life should beat Puck as well. But in that third round, he could easily be up against Dongray Gu. And that match could go actually either way. And if he loses Dongray Gu, he'll be up in the final match, maybe against Puck again, maybe against Suppy, maybe against Shu, maybe against Sasquatch. It's someone who he'd be a favorite, but it wouldn't be walking in the park. And if you take a look at the other bracket, that one actually I think is maybe even more competitive. Well, Hack is probably the favorite there. But actually, San.
Snoot's up there. I think.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So Snoot's a guy who he should get through an open bracket, right? But let's say he loses to San,
which is very like
San
has been.
Didn't he just all kill team? No, he all killed. He all killed the team with all Koreans. It was
right.
Western Wolves against It was Axiom.
Yes.
Yeah, he all killed
yes.
Team Axiom,
All
right?
killed Axiom, including 2 wins over Young.
Yes. So, I mean, the point is that San would San would be the favorite against Snoot. And if Snoot loses to San, he'd have to beat either like Hack or San again, and that's after he gets your like Demuslim and Hendrick. Like, I could see Snoot actually going out very quickly potentially, and that's how competitive this open bracket is. It's pretty insane. It's absolutely stacked. That's IEM New York, guys. This is going to be
and this is only to get into the group stages. Like, this is literally to find out 4 players who are going to join the existing 12 who are waiting in the group stages. Names like, actually, I'm going to try to pull it up right now. Yeah, Zest, TLO, Hyun, Naniwa, Hero, QXC, Curious Flash State, Revival, SWS Huck. Naniwa's actually in the offices right now.
Yes, he's practicing.
He's he was looking for a place to practice, and I'm able to donate my computer.
Maybe we can get him for an interview later.
We might be able to do that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we were talking with him a little bit about his thoughts leading in. What did you kind of?
So I mean, he was saying right now he's most worried about PvP. So if you look at it, he does think that he got probably the easiest group. I mean, it all depends on who, because there's that open spot, and if you get like a life jumping in your group or Dongre or a San, it could be totally different. But he does say he's least comfortable in PvP, so he does have Liquid Hero in his group. But it is top 2 from each group, so he has a decent shot of making it through. And he's feeling that
they're the groups.
Yep. And so, for example, he's feeling his PvT is very solid right now. He's happy with PvT. He thinks that right now the late game is a little stronger for Protoss. He's got I won't reveal strategies, but he has a couple really cool builds he was telling me about. I don't want to give him away or anything like that, but hopefully we'll see some awesome stuff.
Nick is the reason for Naniwa losing at IEM.
Oh, that would be terrible.
For spoiling his strategies. No, it's not going to happen. But
that would be terrible.
But these groups, like, oh my God, are you kidding? There's so many amazing names here. Of course,
and
I think
they're going to be joined by, if I had to guess, I'd say Dongregu, Live, Hack, and San.
Now, some of these names are inaccurate right now because we did have some late changes in the tournament.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Polt will not be attending this event. I think he was replaced by someone, I'm not sure who.
Hyun.
Oh. Okay.
Like, it's not like it gets easier. And for example, 4GG is being replaced by Revival.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing that now on my
screen. So, now that we've talked a bit about all the players we're going to see, of course, the first match, we'll get into that as soon as possible.
So there's actually a little bit of a story behind the first match. Basically, what's going to happen for the first, for these players getting started is it's going to be the entire round 1 of the group stage at once. So main stage is going to be Sasquatch against Dongregu. That'll be on the other stream. So go have both that one. You should always have both streams on, in my personal opinion. Right here, we basically get to decide which of the rest we're going to do. And we made a straw poll, and literally it was neck and neck. It's still neck and neck.
Well, so I mean, we made a bigger straw poll, but it was clear that the 2 most favorite matches between people
we polled people in the chat, and the chat would vote, and then we're trying to find out what you guys want to watch, because that's what's important, right? What do you guys want to watch? And y'all were torn between.
I actually voted myself as well. So
I didn't vote.
I voted.
I stayed out.
I put in my vote there. I'm a democratic person.
Okay.
Of course, it was one vote amongst. Looks like we got several hundred. So
yeah. So it came down to Demuslim barely edging out Life, 134 votes to 126. So the first match we're going to get into on this stream will be Demuslim versus Todeskam.
SWS, also known as.
Oh, that's SWS?
Yes, that's SWS.
I had no idea.
So
why
of course,
didn't he...
SWS is a player who nearly qualified for this event through the Americas qualifier. Actually, in the US qualifier, funny enough, I was 1 place away, or no, 2 places away. I lost. But I actually knocked him out of that first qualifier. But in the second qualifier, I actually ran into him again. He knocked me out. Then he went on. I think he was 1 round short of qualifying. He lost to someone really good.
Oh.
Maybe it was...
Was it Cats? Cats made the big run through.
No, it wasn't Cats.
Okay.
He actually made it further than Cats did.
Illusion?
No, because Illusion. It was one of the persons who qualified. So I think it was State. It was either State or QXC he lost to, or maybe Hawk. It was one of those 3 guys he lost to.
Sure.
It was something really far in, but the point is he's actually really good. So
if
him versus Demuslim.
If I had known that was him, I would have put that
match.
in the poll. SWS is amazing. He's an amazing player. Okay, so now I'm like 200% more excited about this match that we're going to have starting.
Yeah.
Demuslim versus SWS. SWS, a little bit more about him. North American guy. And he's one of those guys in the qualifiers where everyone's like, who is this guy?
Yes.
Who is SWS? Where did he come from? How is he so good? He's a North American player. Is he Canadian-based or United States-based? I'm not sure how much.
I want to say United States.
We're brothers with the Canadians. I mean,
we are.
like Huck is a great example. It's like, who knows? He's from either American, Canadian, one of the two. And he's one of those guys that we're like, okay, who is this guy? How is he making such a good run? And a lot of people are going to see him versus Demuslim and be like, okay, Demuslim's just going to stop him. And that might be a pretty big mistake you can make, because SWS, he's actually very good at StarCraft 2. And I think he has a chance to upset Demuslim. I mean, I certainly consider him the underdog.
I would, but I wouldn't even say it's that strong of an underdog, honestly. Like, if you look at
we
the
talk
last
about
results,
Demuslim too. We can talk about Demuslim too.
yeah, Demuslim, honestly, like, over the last 18 months, I would say, he hasn't had those big offline results.
Yeah.
Like, in online daily tournaments or in team leagues, he often looks really
great.
good.
Yeah.
But we talk about it, like, his best result in the last 18 months was last year, almost exactly a year ago now, getting second place in WCS UK. And that's something where a lot of people would have thought he would get first place. So, you know, Demuslim he's a monster on the ladder. He's a monster on stream and online events, but offline he sometimes struggles. And this is actually going to be very tough for him because, you know, when you go into this event, you're in like a new environment. You get to warm up on your PC a bit, but you kind of like to have that first match when you're really confident. But against a player like SWS, Demuslim cannot take him for granted. I mean,
you know,
they're both very high in the GM ladder. It's going to be very tricky for Demuslim.
I wonder how much they've played in the past, because
I'm sure they run each other. Like Demuslim
on the
streams
ladder
on ladder
a lot.
constantly. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Because it could be one of the situations where you see a name on the bracket that you don't necessarily recognize. You don't necessarily know who he is.
Demuslim knows who he is.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Because that would be
guaranteed.
my main concern is like, okay, you're going up against someone who maybe you don't know his name, you don't know what he looks like. Maybe you go into it with a mindset of, okay, this could be an easy win. That could be the biggest mistake you can make.
Absolutely.
But in a tournament setting where it's live, it's at IEM, the convention center is literally 10 blocks, 10-minute walk that way. I was actually over there yesterday. It's a pretty cool venue, pretty cool space.
It's a huge venue.
Right. So all these players are coming into a live event and they have that mentality. I mean, you've played in a lot of live events. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I mean, you always want the easier match, but against SWS, he's gonna be super nervous. Like the Muslims gonna be thinking, play safe, don't make mistakes, get into my rhythm. Now SWS, we have to speak about this. Like we talk about how impressive he's looked in these qualifiers.
Yeah.
Both for we watch him in WCS America and in IEM. He's looked very impressive. But it's very important to note that these are online events. In SWS, we talk about how the Muslims sometimes struggles in offline events in the big lands. SWS, I don't think he's been to a premier land yet.
That's true. This could be his first big live event, so maybe he's shaking in his boots a little bit, especially
I mean, it's very different.
Going up against
the
Muslim.
Someone who's probably like one of the top couple players in popularity.
Yes.
Who's in this tournament. So.
And then on top of all that, you're entering the lobby and you see Axeltoss and Axlab.
Oh yeah.
Commentating your match, like.
Oh, he's very familiar with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely.
We've been in maybe that helps him be more comfortable. He's
it
like,
is,
oh,
you know, because
my buddies Axlab and Axeltoss.
Yeah, like I've played him in some of the past games. We've commentated a lot of his games through. If you've been watching his stream a lot, through the qualifiers, through WCS America qualifiers, like this is a guy who's a little bit more. So hopefully we'll give him a little more sense at home because I do want him to put forth his best game.
Yes.
It would be a shame if he just kind of crumples under pressure, which can happen. Your first big premier event, you're up against a very famous player like Demuslim.
Yeah.
If he doesn't crumple, if he can, just make sure he plays a solid game, it's going to be a very, very hard-fought match. But if one player is going to totally fall apart, it's more likely to be SWS. Demuslim, well, yes, he hasn't had those big offline results.
He has that experience.
He has so much experience. He's not going to like just totally fall apart.
He's played in a bazillion open brackets.
Yeah.
Like everyone can kind of relate to this. Like, what would be a good example to kind of relate to this? It's that feeling of you work so hard for an event. You work so hard on qualifying for an event. You finally get to go, and you're going to this live venue. There's people everywhere. There's fans coming up to you. Maybe you're signing autographs or whatever. You're talking to people, but at the same time, you're trying to stay in the proper mindset of, okay, I got a really important match coming up. I got to prepare. So you're walking up. You're sitting down. You're not at home. This might be an uncomfortable setup.
Oh yeah.
You have
temperature will be different. The desk height will be a little bit different.
You have to make adjustments in your typical, whatever you usually do. Some tournaments allow music to go while you play. Some other tournaments don't.
Yes.
So it's like, do you listen to music at home when you ladder? No. What are these aspects?
There's also almost the biggest thing I would say is the people around you.
Yeah.
And they're all in your peripheral vision. You've got there. Yeah. And if you look forward, you see there's like a ton of people right there watching you. Your peripheral vision sees people moving around and watching you. And normally when you play at home, you're probably in your room maybe you got a roommate there, or
Maybe
like
your cat is
yeah.
watching you
Yeah.
at most.
Yeah.
Maybe your
it's
mom
not-
comes in for a second, or your
Yep.
sibling, and you yell at them to go
maybe
away.
a girlfriend or something.
Right,
Yeah,
but you
not,
can't just yell at people to go away at a live event.
No. Well, if you do, it's gonna be distracting too.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
so.
something you have to do in the
Everyone's
first
gonna
place.
look. Well, if you do that, they're actually gonna get in closer and
Yeah.
be more interested in you, and it's gonna backfire. I can tell you that.
Well, maybe that's good for publicity, though.
Yeah, who
If
knows?
you-
You just
you
become the
never
angry
know.
guy,
Yeah,
the angry
and
recluse.
then you have an Indra, maybe. Well, like, who knows? But, I mean, again, the point is, we don't know how comfortable these players are. It can be a very high-stress situation. It is. It's like when you sign up for a soccer team, and then your first time playing, they decide that you're going to be goalie, and you haven't played in 10 years.
You seem like you've spoken from personal experience.
Maybe, but it's one of those moments where you're in the goal.
They should have hired me as
And
goalie,
you're
man.
seeing these professional-looking soccer players come in from the other team. They're all big and bulky, and they're
Yeah.
very muscular. And you're in the goal with. Okay, this is getting too off topic, isn't it?
All right, back on topic. We're actually in the game lobby. It should start in a few seconds.
Ooh.
But before we get into this game, I've only got about maybe half a minute at most to talk about this.
Okay.
I do want to talk about 3 players to keep in mind as they're watching this tournament.
Perfect.
For BlizzCon points.
Oh.
BlizzCon points, about 13 of the 16 for BlizzCon are pretty much set in stone.
So the top 16 go to BlizzCon.
Yes.
In points.
And that's WCS points throughout the entire year. They've been mostly accumulated. There's a few more, WCS Season 3 still has to go on. But the 3 people who the points really affect for this event, we're looking at Revival, we're looking at Nanawa, and Hyun. Hyun, if Hyun basically wins this event, he's almost guaranteed to make BlizzCon. Now he still has WCS America, but he'll probably get into the round of 8 there.
Yep.
So Hyun, but if he loses this event, he'd be in a situation where he pretty much has to like win Season 3 WCS to get in. So he wants to do at least make it very far. Revival's a little bit more of a long shot. Revival has to like basically win this, and then he basically has to win this whole tournament, or he's totally out.
Yep.
He could afford to get like top 8 or something, and then as long as he does okay in WCS America, he'll probably be safe. But Revival really needs to win this, and Nano is in a similar position. Nano pretty much has to get first or second to really keep his hopes alive.
Qualify for BlizzCon.
Yeah, Revival and Nano are like the more long shots. Hyun, kind of to make himself safe, he needs to do really well here. Otherwise, he's going to come under a lot of pressure in WCS America.
This is a Tier 1 WCS event, so again, very important for these guys. BlizzCon is coming up. It's literally a month away, and this could be the final chance. But here we are, ladies and gents. Welcome to Game 1, Day 1 of the Intel Extreme Masters New York City. In the top left-hand location of this best of 3, I present your Red Terran player representing Team Evil Geniuses. He is Demuslim. What kind of shape is he in today? Will this be his first big tournament run and win, which he hasn't had much of recently? His opponent in the bottom right-hand location, considered perhaps an underdog in this matchup, but do not underestimate him. Blue Protoss player hailing from the Americas. Is he the next North American hope? He has seemingly the 3-letter name requirement, which is SWS. Is that just me? I mean, you got Huck with the 3 letters.
QXC.
You got QXC.
Yeah.
What is SWS up to, by the way?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. He actually has less workers than his opponent, and normally Protoss should have a couple more. Normally that's to be bad macro. In this case, it's not bad macro. It's the fact that he's cut workers to construct his initial buildings right outside his opponent.
Does Demuslim have any idea?
Oh, Demuslim's doing the worst thing possible against this. He's going command center first on the low ground. Now, if you go command center first on the high ground, you can create a wall, and then you can build a bunker. You can repair your wall, and you might be okay. But command center first on the low ground. Look at this. He's not even revealing his Zealot. I love this. If he reveals the first
He
Zealot,
planned this. This is obviously something
Yes.
he came into this tournament. He had this build in mind. This is how I'm going to break Demuslim. Remember, SWS, he knew he was going to play Demuslim about 4 days ago. These guys know who their opponents are. Demuslim scouting across the map with an SCV right now. Is he going to be able to find out? And more importantly, will he be able to stop this early aggression from SWS?
So he's going to know as soon as he gets into base and sees the low probe count, he should know instantly what's going on. What is his reaction?
Okay.
I mean, he has to know absolutely what's going on. And I love how just now the results have been revealed once the Muslim Order knows what's going on anyway. Not even
No
stopping
wall
to
off.
kill the command center. There's no wall off. Actually, this is genius, going straight for the depot. Some people go for the worker line. You don't have to. If you go for the depot, the workers have to come to you, because if you kill the depot,
No Marines can come out.
Exactly, and I mean, you can kill pretty quick.
Stalkers here.
Exactly. You can see Demuslim will be supply blocks soon
Trying to make
now.
a bunker. Demuslim
Yes.
desperately trying to get this bunker finished, bunching up his SCVs
Oh, it
and
almost
his
works
mineral line
against
there.
them because it's blocking SCVs
Oh,
from getting
no,
access.
the bunker's not going to finish. Demuslim having to pull SCVs again. He has no attacking units. He has 1 Marine on the field. The SCV is trying to...
Oh, he was only able to surround a single Zealot. That means SWS can micro the rest of his units, but both Zealots do fall. The Stalker's being
Okay.
pushed back.
Okay.
Oh, but now there's 2
2
Stalkers.
Stalkers against only Marines. It's gonna
Oh,
be-
one Stalker
no, the
overextended.
Stalker. Oh god, okay, this is so important. Micro is so important here. You don't want to lose any of these units. Demuslim looking first around with those SCVs, trying to get as much damage done as possible with his Marines. SWS trying to kite back with those Stalkers, trying to stay away from that army, and Demuslim getting a bunker down. Has he held this
Bold
off?
move. A very bold move to just try to hold the low ground. It might be a mistake. Oh, SWS, a
He
few
keeps
micro errors.
miscontrolling his Stalkers.
Yeah, you can tell he's nervous.
Oh, he lost 2 Stalkers. This is a situation where you don't want to lose any. SWS, he had 3 Stalkers against 3 Marines right there,
Yeah,
and he lost 2 of his Stalkers.
Can definitely tell he's nervous. A couple misclicks here from the Protoss player. Remember, this is his first game at a premier event. This guy did really well in the online qualifiers, but it's a totally different story. And Demuslim with a bold move trying to hold the low ground, but it's going to pay off.
A move he kind of had to do, I think.
He could have built a bunker on the high ground of his main.
Sure.
I actually think that would have been a more... It's worked out, that's all in hindsight.
He doesn't want to be contained, though, right? So he wants to secure that natural expansion.
That's definitely his mindset. We do see 5 workers went down, but remember, he has 2 mules, and there's been so many probes cut into production line to get these units out this early. SWS significantly behind an economy and equal worker count, but going against an opponent with double orbital commands. He's committing to 3 gate pressure behind us. He's going to try to run by. He has to.
Okay, there's no wall off on the rim. Remember, he killed that supply
Exactly.
depot a little bit earlier, so he knows that this is doable.
Oh, if he can micro against the Marines. Here comes SCV flank, though.
He needs this around. Demuslim trying to get those SCVs around those Stalkers. The Stalkers run to the left-hand side. They could be trapping themselves by these barracks, and they are. The Marines coming forward. All these Stalkers going to fall. Demuslim with a great hold off here, and he's going to be up 29 to 23 in supply, and this last Stalker isn't going to do much.
Oh, Demuslim, can he take out this last pine? Here's 2 more Stalkers. Oh, Demuslim has got to get these Marines to safety. They're going to be taken out. Outnumbered just a bit. Okay, they both get in the bunker. That's actually useful to keep that point under control, forcing the Protoss to go to the main where they can be then attacked by SCVs and Marines. A Zealot Nixon helps a lot against SCVs. Now SCVs, look at this, he's actually getting a lot more precise with his Stalker micro.
He is. It's getting a little bit better, but...
Unfortunately, it may be too late at this point. Demuslim now pinning him into the corner. A lot of Marines to deal damage. SCVs coming out as well. Supplies are even, but remember that Terran has 2 orbital commands behind this. Protoss, only a single Nexus.
All the Stalkers are going to fall here into Demuslim. It was a little bit dicey at first. But that should be the end of this push.
Oh, here comes the only warping in. He's got to get a Stalker in as well, so the Marines cannot keep fighting against the Zealots and using the bunker as a retreat spot. Zealots can go to the main, but once this pylon goes down, attack is over because the 2 bunkers can really delay frontal attacks. Actually, here comes a Stalker out. Demuslim is letting his resources pile up just a little bit, which could be a mistake. He's cut SCV production.
SWS have a backup plan, or is it just warping units?
No, I mean, against double orbitals, it's pretty hard to do a backup plan. And now there's so many Marines. Stalkers have nowhere to hide. There's even a bunker full of Marines. They're going to try to retreat. One, no, doesn't get out of there.
Wow. Okay, so now Demuslim is breathing a sigh of relief. Might put out an engineering bay at this point, just like one of those just-in-case things. As far as protecting
there we go.
There's the GG, and Demuslim squeaking out a victory there. And I'm not sure, based on what I was seeing at whatever mark, maybe the 430 mark, when 6 Stalkers were running into the main, or maybe even before that.
It was even before that with the Zealots. He got both the first Zealots trapped. He had a couple misclicks on his first Stalker. He was trying to set us up forward and attack Marines.
He kept just sending those Stalkers up and
Well, I think it was misclicks. He was trying to right-click Marines, which is what you want to do. You'd rather kill the Marines than SCVs, because once the Marines are gone, obviously you can kill the SCVs. But I think he just had a lot of misclicks early on. But if you notice, and that cost him the game. I think his build was actually great. He had a solid point, but Demuslim was just very precise in his control, a veteran of offline events, just great execution in defense.
Like just breathing, staying calm, and focusing on what he needs to do to win the game. And I love his utilization of high ground vision. A lot of times there, the Stalkers had to run up and kind of cuddle with the Marines. But Demuslim able to take game 1. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. This is a best of 3 in round 1 of the open bracket from Intel Extreme Masters in New York City. I'm Axel Toss, joined by Axad. We'll be back after a quick break.